This video is brought to you by the Ministry of Science. Today we're going to talk about the Pelican extraction shuttle from Helldivers 2. And the first thing my returning viewers are probably wondering right now is something to the effect of,
what the hell are you on about?
Because I'm the airplane guy. I talk about real military planes, not virtual spaceships. But the Chinese fans in the comments section of the White Emperor video pointed something out that I thought was interesting. Apparently there was a sign out front of the White Emperor mock-up at the Zhuhai Air Show stating that it was a prop for a video game called the Nanshan Men Project. And there were many commenters who were more than willing to take exception to that. Now, there are two routes I could take in response to this. One, I could argue this is a dictatorship we're dealing with, and those things lie as easily as they breathe. In fact, I'm pretty sure they'd stop breathing before they stopped lying. And given that many of the aircraft in that video game are speculated to be in development right now, this might mean the sign could maybe, just maybe, be there for plausible deniability. Or to just continue tricking people stupid enough to believe everything they see on the internet, which seems very likely given both that there's no photo of the sign that I've been able to find, and that the mock-up looks like it was actually designed to the limits of engineering, rather than to be an exact copy as a prop should be in theory. Or two, I could just segue into something I wanted to do anyway, and that's apply my preferred take on commentary to air and spacecraft from sci-fi games. Don't get me wrong, I win either way, but the second one gave me the exact reaction of,
by all means, give me some ideas.
So we are going to officially start playing games, beginning with one of Super Earth's most dedicated space frames, the Pelican dropship. The Liberty Lifter over here doesn't care what planet you're on or how many bad guys are munching your tail end. It will show up and it will literally pull you out of Dante's Inferno using its giant V-22 Osprey-looking engine nacelles on the wingtips and the stabilizing rear thrusters. And those stabilizing thrusters are actually my favorite part of the Pelican because I feel like I see a lot of VTOL spaceships that look like they didn't make it out of high school physics, because aircraft with a payload bay are rarely loaded perfectly centered on the thrusters. It's kind of like balancing a pencil on your finger. You're only going to be able to push straight up without issue if your thrust is right under your center of mass. But in a carrier platform like the Pelican, the center of mass can move around depending on the cargo load. And the Jingle Bird of Justice has to carry 4 Helldivers into combat and back out, not to mention counterbalance the weight of those divers' nutsacks or ovaries. Consequently, you'll need extra thrust to stabilize the design, and the Pelican does this in what I would argue is one of the most optimal ways. Also, when it lands, the engines deploy landing gear pads, which provide a wide, stable landing base for multiple types of terrains. Then it'll pick up its Helldivers from a perfectly considered drop bay entrance, designed specifically for flying into a full frontal engagement. You can shield Helldivers from fire using the Pelican's armored hull and use the chin-mounted autocannon turret, informally known as the Democratic Dispenser, to cover your approach and clear the way out. Although I'm not entirely sure how you aim that judge, jury, and executioner because you're not seeing much with the field of view from that cockpit, especially downwards. Granted though, these are the enemies of democracy we're talking about. The only viewing experience we're here to get out of them is turning them into a modern art exhibit, but that gun's still gotta be aimed somehow. I'm guessing they took the helmet-mounted sight off the F-35 and applied it directly to the pilot's forehead. And once that Pelican's cleared the last bugs and bots off its boys and girls, they can head home to assess the results of their mission. It's an absolutely super design, although it has left me with a few requests for information from the Ministry of Science. They're not questions because we don't question Super Earth here. That would make us bot sympathizers, and last I checked, we don't show empathy to communists.
We don't do that here.
So as a dutiful citizen of Super Earth, I consider it my responsibility to understand our technology, to make it ever more ideal for spreading managed democracy. Like how this thing is supposed to fly in space. I don't see maneuvering thrusters, and I don't think the pods rotate upwards, so I'm really not sure how this thing gets from the Super Destroyer to the atmosphere and back. And speaking of atmosphere, how does the Super Saver survive re-entry? I don't see special materials or shielding, and the vehicle always makes the touchdown approach nose down. And when it's finally through the atmosphere, what are the rear outlets behind the intakes for? I can't help but think that slimming those down might help decrease supersonic drag and improve fuel economy when breaking out of atmosphere. I doubt we'll ever run out of E710, but every gallon saved adds up to another run of Pelican-1.
If America runs on Duncan, then Super Earth runs on bugs.
However, assuming the Pelican dropship is an ineffective system is gonna get you reported to your local democracy officer because it is well designed. Super Earth says so, and a recent study by Super Earth states that every study they conduct is 100% accurate. So in summation, the citizens of Super Earth support the continued use of Pelican-1 for extracting Helldivers from planets they continue to successfully liberate for the sake of democracy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider checking out some of my other videos. You might like what you find. Until next time, dismissed.